I want to bring in our panel to talk all about the defense stock earnings that we've been seeing. Stacy here with me, economic strategist, wealth manager at Scarlet Oak Financial, and Tony Bancroft, portfolio manager of the Gabelli Commercial Aerospace and Defense ETF. Thank you both for being here. Francis, let's start with you. Some of your thoughts on this group. Some of these names are doing well. I see winners here in the top 5. Northrop Grumman's up 10% today.
Yeah. So the space is doing really well, despite the fact that you have an increase in the steel and aluminum tariffs, which obviously are going to impact these companies dramatically, even though some of those things are, still shifting around and aren't certain yet. With Lockheed, you have idiosyncratic risk. They had a problem with one of their classified programs, which came out as a surprise this morning, hence the stock being off about 9%. But basically, the space is really strong, and I think that if you continue to play the space with the ETFs, there's a lot of demand, especially with the geopolitical risks that are ongoing.
Okay, and we saw some of that, right? There may have been some stock-specific issues. Tony, what are your thoughts on the aerospace and defense group?
Yeah, I thought that was a great summary by Francis. I think, regarding Lockheed, obviously the F-35 is a big program for them. And the reality is what happened last month with, or a few months ago, actually, with Israel, essentially executing the strike on the Iranian surface-to-air system and essentially taking out all of their S-400s. When I was flying the F-18, nobody would go against an S-400. It would get shot down in a 4th generation or less fighter. F-35, it's the only show in town, and Lockheed, the only one making it, and every Western country, NATO and non-member allies are going to be buying that going forward. There's only so much, drones can do. Drones are great, but anything complex, a mission like that, GPS denied environment, you're going to be using Lockheed's F-35, and that's why it's a big position in our GCAD ETF for our defense ETF.
Yeah, so a day like today, Tony, when it's down over 9%, it's down 9-10%. They were talking about some company-specific issues when it came to costs and schedules, which maybe seem more like a current story. Briefly, is this a buying opportunity today? In your
For sure,
opinion?
I think so. I think yes, Nicole. I think there's probably a kitchen sink type maneuver for the new CFO. You got these fixed price development contracts for their classified aeronautics. They were talking some pretty big news. If someday we learn about this program, it's going to be very obviously beneficial to the United States and Lockheed Martin. And then they have some other legacy programs, some helicopter legacy programs that they just got to get some workouts there. But I think that's sort of in the past. I think the big picture is hypersonics, drone defense, F-35, and their missile defense business is just going to be, the Golden Dome. There's just going to be a lot of growth there, and they're going to be one of the biggest beneficiaries of it.
Yeah, understood. Did you want to add on to Lockheed Martin or talk more about Raytheon or Northrop Grumman?
Yeah. Exactly what Tony was saying.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm asking Francis now.
Sorry.
No, Tony, that was really great data. What I was going to say is that just looking at the technical chart, we dipped a little bit below, but are we going to be holding those February and April lows? That's triple bottom support technically. And so I would agree that the demand is robust. And if it can hold those levels from a technical perspective, it's probably on sale and could potentially be bought. If you want to limit your tactical risk, I would definitely buy some calls or sell some puts. But yeah.
What about the others? Are there opportunities there? For example, this morning, Raytheon RTX went down. Northrop Grumman moved higher. We've already established that everybody thinks Lockheed Martin could be a good buy today. What about the other two names? Do you like either of those when you look at the technicals?
Yeah, I'm more of an ETF player in this space.
Right.
And the ETF is doing phenomenally well just to get kind of that diversification so that you don't have the idiosyncratic risk.
Do you think we'll see the spending on aerospace and defense companies?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah. What do you think, Tony?
Yeah, the defense budget is up 13% year over year. NATO just increased their procurement spending to 3.5% now, target from 2%. That's a $500 billion increase. All of NATO's ex-US, that's their entire budget. and they're going to talk about, going up to, almost $2 trillion of a $2.7 trillion global defense, industry. So I just think all things being equal, the world's unsafe. Unfortunately, it's more unsafe than when I was in the fleet. And I just don't think, I think the U.S. is going to be that they've got the most capacity. Other countries, the problem, a lot of countries are switching over, automobile plants to make, 155 millimeter, howitzer rounds, because they just don't have the capacity. In the U.S., you heard Lockheed talking about going up from 500 PAC-3s to 650, maybe to 750, and then Raytheon was talking about tripling their production in certain of their missile system, of their weapon systems. So I just think there's gonna be a lot more of this in the long term.
And Francis, I mean, costs are an issue for these kinds of companies, right?
Costs are an issue. The problem is they have long-term contracts, which didn't have some of the inflationary or supply chain disruption type costs coming out of COVID baked into them. So they're actually, in the case of Lockheed, they're looking at renegotiating some of those contracts. So that's what they have to work out on their balance sheet. But the demand is going to be robust, and I think hopefully the tariff situation ameliorates coming into the end of the year. So.
Francis, Stacy, Tony, Bancroft, thank you both so very much. Wonderful to see you both today. Thank you. Good luck there at those aerospace and defense stocks. Really appreciate it.